So now I would like to call upon Tom Clement from CHFT, the Cooperative Housing Federation of Toronto, to speak. And we would also like to congratulate him and his group. It's their 50th anniversary this year. Woo! So I give you Tom Clement.
Thank you for inviting me to your celebration today. This is the first year where co-ops have really been opening up and inviting us to events at their co-op, and the fact that you're celebrating your 40th anniversary makes it extra special. Of course, it means that we're going to co-ops every weekend, and it's so good to connect with our members in a face-to-face. Zoom is great, but real people is where it's at. So what an amazing co-op. I haven't really been here since before the pandemic, but as you know, I've come to many meetings at your co-op, and I've always been impressed with the model on how this co-op was developed. And you know, so much of that credit goes to the Labour Council Development Foundation. So it's good to see. I don't want to use the term old friends anymore. It's good to see my friends from the Labour Council, because at CHFT, the Labour Council always was our best partner. And my introduction to living in co-op housing was actually in a co-op that was developed by the Labour Council. In fact, it was renovated by Ron Strice, Grace McKenna's co-op. Beautiful building. It was my first time living in a co-op, and it really literally changed my life. And I could see the benefits, just like all of you could see the benefits. And what we know about your co-op and the labor movement is, when we need an ally, when we need to lobby the government, we can count on the labor movement, we can count on Labour Council co-ops, and all of our members. At this point, CHFT has 185 member co-ops. Yeah. But it's all based on the success of the early co-ops, and the early co-ops and the way we developed them, and the pressure we put on government. The senior levels of government have been absent from co-op housing for a long time. But I got some good news for you. Ron Strice, who built my first apartment, came to us a couple of years ago and said, I think there's this thing called Create TO, and some of those sites that they're trying to develop could be a co-op. And okay, we hadn't had a big co-op for a long time. And so Ron brought us together with development partners, did a lot of the front end work. And right now, this co-op is going ahead. We had a public meeting. We went through without opposition. We had another meeting earlier, and it was our co-op members who came to that meeting via Zoom and spoke up about co-ops. Some people said, we don't like big co-ops. And the president of the biggest co-op in our membership said, well, I live in a big co-op and we've operated for 30 years and we don't even have a mortgage anymore. So to see our members come out, and I went door to door in Scarborough along with other people, and we got hundreds of people to sign a letter saying we need co-ops in Scarborough. And the co-op is located at the Kennedy subway station. I don't think any of us are going to make an exact guess on when it's going to be built, but it will be built. And does anybody know how big this co-op's going to be? No, 612 units of co-op housing. Yeah, we can't fool around with just little co-ops here and there. There's a housing crisis, and the reason we know that is because recently we were working with one of our member co-ops, Riverdale Co-op. They're a little older than you. They're 50 years old. So they had an old building. We're renovating it with them, and there were 13 people living there. We found temporary housing for them, temporary being a couple of years, and we've been renovating it. So 13 old members coming back, And so we had 13 new co-op units to advertise to the general public. And how many people applied for that? 6,200 people for 13 units. That's why we need all levels of government. And I really want to emphasize, like in the Scarborough project, really, it's our municipal government that's really put a lot of the resources in. I know we're going to hear from Olivia Chow later, but she's been behind this co-op. She announced it on January 8th, was it? Yeah. Okay, so we have a bright future in co-op housing, but it's all built because of you, because you've successfully run this co-op. Other co-ops have successfully run their co-ops. Other co-ops have promoted aging in place. They've also promoted young people through our scholarship program. We have a bright future. We need you. We need you in a big way to continue what you're doing. All you have to really do is do a great job like you're already doing.
Thank you.
And you probably heard that recently, finally, after a long absence, the federal government now announced a national co-op housing program. First time in, I forget how many years, heck of a long time. But we have a national housing program. We're trying to figure out the details of it. But finally, and it's because of the pressure that our members have put on the federal government, just like the pressures our members put on to create the co-op in Scarborough. So what you do living here and democratically running your co-op is absolutely essential to our success. So keep on what you're doing. I have some other gifts for individual members who are, I'll present them later, recognizing their century of cooperation. But right now, I have a plaque that I want to present to the co-op. I'm not sure who's going to officially receive it. 40 years.
So, Charles Pinto was on the board.
Okay, you got to come up.
Cheers. You clip.
Straight. And the final word, again, just keep what you're doing because you're doing a great job. Congratulations.
Our super secret special guest is running a few minutes late, but will be here. They rest assured she will be here. So we're just going to have a few words from Michael Lyons, who will talk about the co-op. Okay? So Michael Lyons, take it away.
Totally unscripted, but I've done this before. I just want to talk a bit, because Tom mentioned about the Labor Council Development Foundation. In the 70s and 80s, the Labor Council of Metro Toronto at that point was probably one of the most effective and active organizations in the city. We had hundreds of people assigned to various boards, agencies, commissions around Toronto. All the community college boards of the agencies and boards of the municipal governments, of the provincial governments, and we were active. We had radio programs, we had women's programs, we had occupational health and safety programs. We were deeply involved in the boards of education. But one of the programs that I'm most proud of that we did is our efforts in co-op housing and the Labor Council Development Foundation. Over the years, from the mid-70s till the programs ended, the Labor Council, through the Development Foundation, built 39 housing co-ops with over 4,000 units. And in addition, built the Emily Stowe shelter and the Duquan nonprofit housing. If you add up those 4,000 units and you think of all the people who live in there, we were able to provide housing, affordable housing, for probably tens of thousands of people over the years. And I think that's a remarkable accomplishment, but more needs to be done. And as Tom says, the way to do it is you've got to get on these provincial and federal and municipal governments to do it. It can be done. It's been done before. It can be done again. One of the rationales that we had when building these co-ops was not just to provide affordable housing, but to build communities. And one of the best things that we did was build communities. And the best example of it is what everybody here has been talking about today. We didn't just build a co-op. We didn't just provide low-cost housing, affordable housing. We built a real community. And look around you and you can see what we've done. That's something that I'm really proud of. But I also, before I leave, I just want to recognize two people, and Tom mentioned them, Ron Sprice and Judy Goldie. Ron and Judy were both the directors of the Labour Council Development Foundation at the time when this was being built. I think Ron was there initially, and then Ron left and Judy took over. And what Tom didn't talk about is, when I mentioned how you have to deal politically, who did we deal with? Ann Johnson. And you remember Ann Johnson was here at our 25th? Ann Johnson was here at the 25th. Ann Johnson was a driving force at the municipal government to make sure this got built. Right? And we all lost her. It was sad when they changed the name of the Ann Johnson to Vibrant. I mean, Ann Johnson was a person that should be remembered. But as but also without Ron and Judy, we probably wouldn't have had this as well, because this was a kind of a unique kind of a co-op that hadn't been done before, where you just had the air rights over and negotiating with the library. We all know what negotiating with the library can be like, right? So they deserve a lot of the credit for this community having been built, right? And I just really think we should want to recognize them. Thanks very much.